Your patience. I want to thank you all for coming out to the BIDDER'S conference for the multi-sourcing service integrator. These are our agendas for today. We'll have our welcoming remarks and introduction, conference objectives and rules, vision and desired outcomes, um, operating model, service model, financial model, our overview of the procurement process. We'll do a rundown of Jagger and things to remember when bidding, and we will have questions and answers at the end. This conference is being recorded and will be uploaded to Jagger later on, so you all can go back and review if you need to. Okay, now we'll pass it to everybody who will be speaking today, and we'll start with Erica.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Erica Keller. I am a project advisor here at GTA, and I will be serving as the program sponsor for this MSI RFP. Thank you.
Next, well, Yolanda Reeder will be the issuing officer on there. She is out today. But you can, take down her email here because if you have any other questions, she is the point of contact. But next we'll go to Peter.
Good afternoon. I'm Peter Blake. I'm the Director of Contracts here at GTA. And so at the end of the procurement, myself and the team will be negotiating the end result of the contract.
Thank you, Peter. Okay. Next we have Brent.
Good afternoon. I'm Brent Palladino. I'm the Customer Delivery Officer for GTA. My primary role is service delivery oversight for GTA, for the MSI and managed service providers.
Thank you, Brent. Next we have Andrew.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Andrew Klodzinski. I'm with Symbio Ecosystems. We're here working with this GTA in this MSI procurement effort. And we'll pass it to Mr. Crawford.
Hey, good afternoon. My name is John Crawford. I'm also with Symbio Ecosystems. I'm supporting Rick Ansari and the financial team.
Thank you. So our conference objective is to provide a general overview of the purpose of the procurement, scope of services, present the Jagger sourcing tool demo, and allow service providers the opportunity to ask questions. GTA will not be bound by any oral statements or representation contrary to the written specification of this solicitation. Any revision, clarification of interpretations pertaining to this solicitation will be written and issued by GTA as an addendum. Any changes or interpretation not in an addendum will not legally bind GTA. As I said before, all communication must go through Yolanda Reeder. She is the point of contact. So if you reach out to anybody else on the sourcing team, they will forward it to Yolanda because she is the only one who can answer questions regarding this procurement. If you have any questions that you want to put in the chat, please include your name, company name, along with the email address for each question. And we will only be answering administrative questions that you have during this this conference. So those are the only ones we'll answer. If you have any other ones, you can keep those, save those, and you can ask them as a question and we'll respond to those as a later time during the Q&A period. visions and desired outcomes. And now I'll pass it over to Erica.
Hi, good afternoon again. So I will speak just a few minutes around GTA's vision and desired outcomes for this MSI RFP. Basically, our desired outcomes boil down to we want to improve the timeliness and quality of services that we're providing to our customers. We want to be able to bring new services to market faster and drive optimization and continuous improvement through innovation, artificial intelligence, and automation. We want to be able to do things faster and more efficient. And we want to stay competitive in our cost so that we can grow our business. And recognizing that that also has a component of transparency, in consumption and cost to our customers. All of these things really have one thing in common, and it is our aim to improve our customers' experience overall. So, our goal of this procurement is to seek a strategic partner to help us achieve these desired outcomes. And I think I will pass it over to Peter now. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We're not getting to Peter just yet.
Sorry about that.
No problem. We're just gonna go briefly over the GETS overview. Like I said, if you want to look back at this after we post the recording, that's fine. But the main point that I want to let everybody know is we require independence between all our multi-sourcing service integrator, the managed security services provider, and the other service tower providers. Service provider acknowledges that if awarded the MSI RFP contract, they will not be the managed security services nor one of the service tower providers. And it will proposals that don't meet the following mandatory minimum qualifications will not be considered. These are the two questions. Service provider must have 5 or more years experience providing similar services in U.S. government as stated in Exhibit 2 Statement of Work. And also the service provider must have held at least 2 similar system services integration contracts within the last 5 years, or the following is true. The average annual contract value was at least $15 million, and the service provider was the prime contractor. Go over to our operation model, and we'll pass it over to Brent.
Hey, good afternoon again. So what is the multi-sourcing service integration? It's the management of separately contracted and supplied IT services to ensure they consistently work together to deliver business benefits. And the MSI is the primary operational interface between the client and its IT service providers and is accountable for service performance. And that last part is very important. The next slide if you want. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is to talk to the common service integration framework that we have in place as we do this procurement. So one of the primary goals is increase end user satisfaction through digitizing how work gets done and providing web accessible information tailored to each business unit. This kind of plays into what Erica mentioned earlier with automation and continuous service improvement. Reducing non-discretionary IT spend is important through effective cross-tower management and transparency. And this framework facilitates proactive business planning by consolidating historical performance data with proactive business demand. It also enables freedom by creating a plug-and-play supplier model through standardized process and tools like ITFM, ITSM. And the representation on the right is just to kind of illustrate the governance framework. On the far left here, we have a governance model that GTA and the MSI co-chair together. And this representation just kind of shows what the MSI is responsible for in the middle box there in conjunction with the GTA customers up top and our managed service providers on the bottom side of that. And as you see, managed security services spans the entire spectrum. And just another graphic here to illustrate the MSI model for the state of Georgia. This gets into a little more depth of the actual processes. You know, we're an ITIL framework shop, and this is basically a representation of the MSI layer and what they provide as far as everything from communications to project communication, or I'm sorry, project and program management, DR, service continuity, information security, risk management, all the things you'll see in the RFP that are in the statement of work, including service desk operations. So the idea here is that the MSI layer provides unified functions, tools, and resources operating across all towers, and the focused tower resolution and fulfillment on the bottom by the managed service providers.
Right, thank you, Brent.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
We'll pass it over to Andrew to discuss the service model.
Thank you, Jabari. So in Exhibit 2.4, we have our key personnel. You can see we have populated it with 8 resource positions. You have the opportunity to add additional rows for any other positions that you would deem as key to delivering the service to GTA. We wanted to also point out a couple items associated with the key personnel. The first is that each of the key personnel have a 24-month commitment based on when they're assigned. Their assignment has begun with the state. Also, within 2.4, we're asking for resumes to be provided. We do not want generic. We want actual resource names there. And we want you guys to focus on similar scale and complexity of their experience for the in-scope services. And the last piece we're going to be looking for is an organizational chart for both the transition period as well as the steady state period that outlines the lines of authority and the decision making levels within your organization. In Exhibit 3, we have our performance model. We have both critical service levels as well as key measurements that are outlined in Exhibit 3.1, as well as the associated definitions and measurements in Exhibit 3.2. Also within 3.1, we have our critical deliverables, so those one-time deliverables that are associated that this GTA uses to onboard into the environment, as well as recurring milestones, annual technology plan, DR tests, things of that nature that are outlined there as well. Within the methodology, GTA, there are a couple items we wanted to point out for rights here. It's GTA's right to add, modify, elevate, or delete SLAs throughout the term of the contract, and that for service level misses for for both critical, there's requirements associated with for critical SLAs that GTA, along with the root cause analysis, will also require service level improvement plans. So please review those as you are preparing your responses. Also, within our procurement process, as we move forward through it, we will facilitate integration sessions where we will have other service providers that are in the environment working or sitting at the table with the bidders of the MSI RFP here, and we will put out use cases to facilitate the conversation. What we're looking to do is ensure that the solution that you guys are proposing will work within our environment. Also, to identify any gaps that are missing or any overlaps that you have in your solutions with maybe some of the other service tower providers. last piece out of that, we would then go through an amended response where we would ask you to update your solution and pricing based on the information during those sessions to give back to the state.
Thank you, Andrew. Now we'll have John come in to discuss the financial model.
For sure. Good afternoon, everyone. This is just a brief list of all of the tabs out in the pricing form. We've done an asterisk for all the worksheets that require a response. The major worksheets we'll go through in the subsequent slides, but you've got unit rates, one-time charges. We're asking for the staffing plan in the PPM in this sheet as well. So there's a lot of information in 4.1. Run charges. So these are for the monthly recurring services. We provided a list of unit rate, or I'm sorry, resource units. Some of them are fixed cost that will have a volume of 1. Some of them will be variable costs. For the variable resource units, GTA has provided the baseline volume, kind of the current day snapshot for the evaluation. We are asking providers to give us monthly unit rates for each of those variable resource units. And the reason we put all 3 on the screen here is just to show, hey, the GTA provided volumes multiplied by the provider unit rates will generate or automatically calculate the monthly run charges. Those volumes are for evaluation purposes only. Obviously, once the contract is signed, those variable volumes will change month to month. The next piece is transition charges. So think all of the one-time activities taking place. These will be activities that will be paid out after completion and approval by GTA. In the pricing form, we have priced these per deliverable that's out in the service level matrix. Finally, rate cards. So think any project work that's above the scope in the statement of work, any additional work GTA would like to request for the providers. We are asking, we provided a list of job roles and descriptions as well. We're looking for hourly rates and monthly rates for these people. Finally, the FRM. So you will find an Excel document in the Exhibit 4 package. It's basically row by row. Hey, who's responsible for what? We've got tabs for software, equipment, personnel, cross-functional, etc. So this would be the place to go if you have any questions on, hey, should I be pricing for this, or is this going to be a GTA retained item?
All right, thank you, John. So we'll go over the procurement process. Right now, we're in step number 2, the business model and integration overview. And then directly after this meeting, you all can start submitting questions, and we will respond to those and post to Jagger. Next is you're putting together your proposals and you submit them to GTA. And after that, that's when we begin to evaluate to see who is the best fit for GTA regarding this procurement. And we move on to the clarifications and integration sessions. And that's just to, as Andrew mentioned, to finalize the solution and remove assumptions. And then we get to negotiation and award. This is the criteria that we will be using to evaluate your proposals. 70% for the technical, 30% for the financial. And then we have our mandatory pass-fail questions in Jagger. We have our clarification and integration sessions. We have our evaluations, which determine the competitive range. GTA invites the select service providers for discussions, proposal presentations, and clarifications. And then we have amended proposal responses that we get back from the vendors who we down select. And then we have the integration session, which, as Andrew mentioned before, identifies solution, price gaps, and overlaps, remove assumptions and exceptions. And then there's also a amended proposal submitted as well. Andrew, if you want to speak or add anything to this, you can. If not, I'll move on to the next question. I mean, the next slide. So this is our development of the proposal package. A reminder that GTA created the RFP section 4.6 and attachment A as a summary of proposal documents by section and proposal package for service providers' use as a checklist to confirm required materials are included in your proposal. Reminder that all proposal documents must be submitted via the Jagger Sourcing Director system. Those will be in the supplier section, supplier attachments, as well as the mandatory score questions. Reminder that all electronic files submitted must be created or fully compatible with Microsoft Office 2010 or above. Responses must be provided in their native format. And here we have our feedback. Service providers shall use RFP enclosure 2 to note any feedback to any standard provision terms or conditions specified in the RFP. Service providers must also submit a red line MSA aligned with the proposal document. Service providers should note that GTA expects each service provider to comply with the requirements of this RFP as written and to price its response accordingly. GTA strongly discourages any service provider from indicating that it does not agree or does not comply with the provision because the service provider is unwilling to price a solution to the defined requirements for risk liability, IP rights, or any other reason. If service provider fails to note any feedback within its proposal, service provider will not be allowed to request feedback throughout the remainder of the procurement process. No feedback will be considered after negotiations or contract award. So if you are, as you're looking over the solicitation and you see certain things that you may want to tweak, this is the form that you can use and provide. If you don't have any and you're good with everything, that's fine too. And here are the schedule of events. Today we're at the BIDDER'S conference. The data room will be available on Monday. The final day to submit questions will be January 9th, 2025. We will have answers to all of those questions by the 16th of January. And then responses are due February 6th. Data room access will only be granted to the prime service providers attending this session today. Confirm via attendee sign-in after they complete the required non-disclosure agreement attachment M. So if you want access to the data room, you will fill that out and then you will email Yolanda Reeder and she will pass that over and get you guys set up.
Hey, Jabari, one other note on the non-disclosure. When submitting that to Yolanda, please also identify the resource that will have that you want set up for data room access.
Yeah, so Andrew was saying sometimes we will have vendors who sign the NDA and they will use a generic, let's just say, email address. So, contracts at so and so. That we will need an actual email address um, for the point of contact who will have access to the data room. And as a reminder, we're only giving out access to uh, one person per service provider. So just keep that in mind. And right here, we have, this is going to be our attachment C for Q&A. We understand that you all may have several questions at once that you want to ask. It will be very beneficial to us if you use this instead of trying to send your questions, one at a time in Jagger or doing it through email. This would help us tremendously if you use this form and just attach it to the Q&A board. And this will help us to start answering the questions and get them back to you. And then also in our main document, we're providing responses to the RFP questions. All responses to questions will be consolidated into a single file and posted to the Jagger Q&A board.
Hey, Jabari, if I can jump in here. So as you guys are working on reviewing all the RFP documentation and preparing your bids, we ask you guys to appoint a person to submit those questions and to screen those questions, that only those questions that are needed for you to develop your proposal and your response, to submit those. We will receive each one of the questions, of course, and respond to them. However, we will be looking for if that information is needed for the response, or if we would provide it later in the process. So that's one point wanted to make. Also, even though Jabari shared the date that was the last date to submit your questions, I would not wait to hold all your questions and make one submission. We are looking to turn responses out through the Q&A period to get the information to you guys as quickly as possible so that you can incorporate that information in your responses. Thank you, Jabari.
Thank you, Andrew. And here we have, once again, we're talking about the data room. We will include artifacts to inform the service provider in their RFP response. For example, volumetrics, assets, current environmental information, etc. Additional information may be added as a result of service provider RFP question. And as I was saying before, data room access will only be granted to the prime service providers attending this session today after they complete the required NDA attachment M. Service providers are to identify their one data room point of contact, including email address, when submitting completed attachment M. And also, if you make a mistake or need to change, you can send an email to Yolanda and let her know, if there's any change to the point of contact or anything of that nature, and we'll get a response back to you in a timely manner. So now we'll pass it to Peter.
All right, good afternoon, all. Just wanted to describe what the end resulting contract, the structure would be. It'll be an MSA with several exhibits off of it. The MSA will have the terms and conditions of the agreement. And in the Exhibit 1 area is going to have the integrated service information. Because this is an integrated environment, these are the things that will bind them together as an integrated service. Exhibit 2 will be the statement of work and the solution documents. Some of these documents will be created as a result of your submissions. Exhibit 3 is the performance model. This is the SLAs and the performance measurements. And Exhibit 4 was the business model, which contains the financial information and the pricing structures. Andrew, did you have any comments that you wanted to make?
Yeah, just to follow on what Peter is saying there, we go out with the RFP based on the contract that we want, the structure that we want to sign, have the agreement structured in. So what you're seeing as far as the RFP material is, where we will end up at contract signature, everything on the right-hand side on the agreement structure. The other information that we've included here is information pertaining to the solicitation, the main document that has the instructions for how the procurement will be run, and responses, the additional attachments for the procurement that are identified, and then the 2 RFP enclosure documents that we have that are also part of your RFP response that will be used as we go through the evaluation process. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Right. And so in our buyer attachments, we do have the instructions to Jagger. So if you are unfamiliar and you haven't been in there before, we do give you a guideline. And also, if you have questions about something in there, you can reach out to Yolanda and she'll be happy to respond. If you're having any technical issues, please reach out to the procurement help desk at this number or this email address. Yolanda will not be able to help you in that manner other than giving you this information again if you're having technical issues. So response tips, check the Jagger regularly for any addendums and updates. We may, in the event if we have to, make changes to some of the technical documents. And so, you want to make sure you're up to date on that. Don't wait until the last minute to submit proposals. We're all dealing with technology and sometimes you might have some issues, so please don't wait till the last day. Ensure that all required materials are included in your proposal. Price everything that is solution. Options that are not priced must be clearly indicated in your proposal. Propose real people or key personnel, not representative resumes. Ensure that legal and business work together on feedback. Document all assumptions in Exhibit 4.1 and do a final QA of your documents prior to submittal. As I stated before, all questions, inquiries should be directed to Yolanda Reeder. The deadline to submit is January 9th, or submitting questions is January 9th. Please refer to Attachment A, the RFP main document, for details on submitting other questions. Answers to the questions you heard today will be finalized and posted to the Jagger sourcing system. As Andrew was saying, we're trying to turn around and get those questions out quickly. So if you submit the questions, tomorrow, we'll try to get something out on Monday or Tuesday. and we'll just try to update as we go. And once again, responses are due at 4 p.m. Eastern, February 6th. Nothing said here today will alter the RFP requirements unless specifically addressed in an addendum. An addendum will be issued in the next couple of business days to include the bidders conference materials. So this video, the attendees list, and if we have responses to questions, they will be put in the addendum and added to Jagger. So now, if we have any administrative Q&A questions, I feel free to ask those and I will answer those. Let's see, do we have any? Does not seem like we have any right now. So if we do not have any questions, I will adjourn this. I want to thank you all again for attending, and happy holidays.
Thank you, Jabari. Happy holidays.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks all.
Thank you, everyone.